right, so we're going to continue what we've been talking about regarding balance, especially walking. So we've already talked a little bit about the shuffle. So if you were going to ask people to pantomime what they think an old person looks like, you're automatically going to see people are going to probably do something like this, or they're going to do something like this. And it's sort of universal in that a lot of times when people think about old people, they think about this very specific, limited gait they have right there. And what we know is that gait is a very good proxy measure for longevity anyway. It's one of the gait speed is going to be one of the major things that people will test when they're looking at overall health, biological health, functional health of people. And it's one of those things that's really important because it's indicative of so much. It's indicative of lower body, leg strength and power production, obviously balance, confidence, fear of falling. And unfortunately, developing that shuffle, that gait, is one of those things that does increase the risk factor for falling, even though it's often a protective behavior by people because they're afraid of falling. Just developing that shuffle actually increases your chance of falling. It's almost like if you've never worn flip-flops before and you wear flip-flops for the first time, you're constantly catching your feet on things because they're sort of dragging. The shuffle sort of has all these added detrimental effects in addition to just making your life much, much smaller. So there's lots of things that go into the shuffle. Like we already said, a lot of it is confidence, it's fear of falling. So as you work with your members and you increase their confidence, hopefully some of those protective behaviors will naturally go away as you give them opportunities to challenge themselves and try new things. But then we also have to look at some of the limitations, so just balance in general. So as we work on our balance, then people's shuffle will hopefully probably improve if you give them opportunities to find new motor patterns. But then the other thing is we actually have to look at mobility limitations as well. So two mobility limitations we think of are our hip flexion, so thinking on the sagittal plane, getting our hips up like this, and you can see that even just right here could be a balance test. Obviously, we start most of our classes with marching, so if you really focus on that slow, kind of exaggerated marching, this is a great opportunity to work on hip flexion and a great opportunity to work on balance. But one of the other ones that a lot of people don't think about in hips is our lateral hip movement. So with the lateral hip movement, we want to think about how much control do we have right here with all these muscles around here kind of behind your glutes on your side to essentially rotate your pelvis up and down. It doesn't look like I'm doing a lot right now. It looks like I'm raising a leg, but when I'm doing this, I'm not bending a knee and I'm not trying to lean over like this. What I'm doing is if I stand here and I go ahead, you can do this too. If I go ahead and I put my fingers right here on my ASIS protrusions in my pelvis, and I can feel everything rotating back and forth. And what I'm thinking about is I'm actively thinking about, I'll do my left leg. So I'm actively thinking about driving my left leg into the ground, almost like I'm trying to stomp on a cigarette butt or something like that. So I'm trying to stomp through. And as I do that, it's hard to see, but my right leg comes off the ground. I'm still trying to stand straight. I'm not bending my knee. And I'm just going back and forth like that. And if you just focus on this movement and actually contract it quite hard, it won't be long before you really start to feel that it's quite a challenging movement. So just going back and forth like this can be really nice. And then if you're doing one of the situational warm-ups that we do sometimes, this can be a nice one. When you've moved on to other things, you want to get more specific. We sort of call these penguin walks. And with the penguin walks, what you do is you just take these little steps like a penguin, and you're not bending your knees, and you're just thinking about driving one foot into the ground and letting the other hip raise just like that. And you do a few of these, and it doesn't take long before you start to feel it. So when you're working with older populations, a great time to do this is in the warm-up. But just think about all the different ways that you can work on hip mobility and hip strength while also working on balance. And sometimes you can do it explicitly in the warm-up, but then there are lots of other opportunities that you can do it through games and activities where people don't even realize that's what you're doing, but you're just sneaking in these opportunities to help with gait and confidence, to help reverse that shuffle and get people moving around quickly and confidently again.